It up this afternoon. Our final team of the day is the Scottsboro Wildcats and Coach Chris Bale. And Coach is making his debut this year in North Alabama. I know, Coach, you were at Oak Mountain. I know you've been coaching about 10 years, so your first year at Scottsboro. So it's great to have you here. Would you introduce the players or let them introduce themselves and give us some preseason comments on your Scottsboro Wildcats?
I will. Well, Jeff, I wish I'd only been coaching 10 years. This will be 33 for me. So Gab McCrary here is to my right. Started at safety last year, played also a little receiver, running back, and quarterback. He's going to be starting at quarterback for us this fall. To my left is Cade Holder. He started inside linebacker last year, and he'll be duplicating that again this year. Oh, okay. Just comments. I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. I apologize. When you get this age, you kind of forget some of those things too. I need reminders. If you, last 30 seconds, I've forgotten it. Excited to be in Scottsboro. Excited to be in North Alabama. Had 9 years at Oak Mountain. Had these guys we were talking about on the way up. Great community there. I've been doing this a long time. 9 years is the longest we've been anywhere. So it was going to take really a great opportunity for us to leave. And my wife and I both feel that this is that opportunity. I really, and again, at this point, all of us are optimistic, but I really, just as I looked at things and began to process the opportunity, I think Scottsboro is I really do believe it's a sleeping giant. I think we've got an opportunity to do things the right way, and I think we've got an opportunity to really build our program into one of the premier programs, not only in Alabama, but in the Southeast.
Coach, you talked about Scottsboro being that sleeping giant. What are some expectations you have for this football program in year one as head coach?
Well, I mean, in year one, and again, when you look at that, I think, when you talk about a program, what you're looking at is, are we doing the things that are going to bring out the full potential of what's there? And I think that we have that at Scottsboro. I think we've got, just community support. The fact that it is, we're a single school system, a city system, where you have everybody pulling in the same direction. The quarterback club has been phenomenal. The players, I mean, these guys, I tell people, if you've been in Birmingham, Mountain Brook, it's that, and I say this with all due respect, it's a little cult down there. When I came, people don't leave Mountain Brook. When I got to Scottsboro and as I started to meet people don't leave Scottsboro. And I think that is I think that's a great spot to be. I'm an old history major. This will be my fourth head coaching job. My first job, it was the 6th year the school had been built. My second job, it was brand new. We started from scratch. Oak Mountain had been there 13 years before us getting there. I love the fact that we're coming into a place that has such great tradition. Now, what are our goals this year? It is really just to lay the foundation, establish the groundwork that we're going to set going forward. But we're not going to define, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to sound like a politician. I'm going to be talking out of both sides of my mouth. We're not going to define success based off of how many games we win or how many games we don't win. It really comes down to what we've been preaching to these kids is, are we maximizing our potential every day when we go out there? If you were to ask me, what are your goals this year? Our goals is for 10 weeks to play 4 quarters as well as we're capable of playing. If we do those things, if we focus on, I hate to steal a word, Coach Saban has made this a buzz phrase, but focus on the process, the results are going to take care of themselves. And that's what we've got to teach our kids, that everybody wants to win, but are you doing the things day in and day out that are giving you an opportunity to be your best? Because if you're not being your best, then it really doesn't matter if we won or if we lost. So my goals this year is to get our guys, we've got 65 kids on the roster, to get our guys to buy into the fact that every time we go out, we're going to be our best. Whether it's practice, whether it's a weight room session, whether it's classroom, whatever it is.
Coach, being a new coach to the area, could you share your offensive and defensive philosophies with us today?
We're going to run wide open spread, probably no backs. No, we're not. I've been an option guy for as long as I can remember. We will be, we'll carry that here. Being an option guy, I think a lot of people just assume all you ever want to do is run the football. I was a receiver in high school, but I ended up playing linebacker in college. And I think you've got to be able to run the ball to win, but you've also got to be able to throw the ball to win. There's going to be games when, man, we can run the ball up and down the field, and that's great. But there's going to be games when we play people, and they're going to pack 8, 9, 10 in the box, and we've got to be able to throw the football and win in those games. So, we're going to be able to do both. But if we can only do one thing, we're going to run the football. Defensively, we will, we'll be multiple. We'll have we'll base out of a 3-man front, but we'll also be able to go into, into some 4-man front packages. I think the key there is having guys that just are fanatical about getting off blocks and finding the ball carrier. And if we can get 11 guys on that side of the ball that are flying to the football and arriving in a bad humor when they get there, I think we're going to be okay.
I want to ask the players a question. I know Coach Jacobs was there about 4 years. Coach Bell comes in this year, brand new coach. Has he won over the team? Talk about that and winning over the team, and has the team bought into everything? I don't know how much he's changed from Coach Jacobs, but y'all had to get used to him too.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Coach Jacobs leaving and Coach Bell coming in, well, I feel like we've bought in pretty well. It's been a process, but it's getting better every day, and we're going to be ready.
I mean, every coach is different, but like Coach Jake, he was a great coach, a great man, love him. But Coach Bell coming in, preaching his philosophy, I feel like we've all adapted to him very well because some of the same philosophies Coach Jake had, Coach Bell has brought. So, like, I feel like what Coach Bell brings to the table is, like, what we really look for. And we love Coach Bell with all our heart.
Here in the middle, I'm going to ask 2 questions. I'll ask one and let you answer. First question will be for the players. Everybody felt very fortunate, first of all, to get to play last year with all the uncertainties. But you guys in particular, you had your season cut short by 2 games. You didn't get to play. For you guys, what does that mean for you to use as motivation? How have you used that this offseason to get to where you want to be, even with Coach coming in, a brand new coach for yourselves? I'm sure you guys have been putting in a lot of work. How have you guys used that, not getting those last 2 games in as motivation for this upcoming season?
Well, it really just makes you thankful, really, because you get to take stuff for granted whenever you play and you play and you play. When something like that happens, it really opens your eyes like, wow, this can end like really quick. So we're treating each day like it's our last right now. Be honest with you, just practice as hard as you can every day, just as it would be your last.
Yeah, just not every game due to COVID is like guaranteed because it can, just like Coach Jake said last year, not every game's guaranteed. It can end just like that. So what are you going to do to, push yourself to make yourself a better man? So, yeah.
Well, those are good answers. And by the way, I think we can all agree here that this is the sharpest dressed team been here today. But second of all, for Coach, I know that Coach Jacobs was the one that put this one into motion. But last season, one of the games that these kids missed was getting an opportunity to have Fife come to Scottsboro and play at the end of the season. I know we're still in July. That's in October, at the end of October. So it's looking ahead a little bit. But what do you think that game means for you guys to come to Fife and have a game of interest like that a lot of people have kind of thought they wanted to see for a long time, and then they finally were going to get it? COVID canceled it, but this year we hope to get it. What does that mean for you guys and just kind of be able to bring a big game of interest to Northeast Alabama?
Well, the first thing I did was I called Coach Benefield and asked him how much would it take for us to get out of that ball game. No, I think, the reality is, and again, we got 9 games before that, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but and Paul's done a great job there. And I think anytime you get an opportunity to play against great people, then you want to jump onto that. So it is an opportunity for us to play a quality program. It's one reason why we moved the North Jackson game to game 1, because I wanted, right out of the gate to have a game that meant something. And, what better way than to put a game on the map like that? But that's, the thing I told our kids, when we were in Birmingham, I said, there are people all across the country that would kill to play in games of the magnitude that we got to play in every week down there in that region. I think that's the thing here. And if you look at our schedule, and we've got, again, we've got some quality opponents on there. Fife certainly at the end, but I mean, again, North Jackson, Madison Academy, Oxford, our first 3 ball games. I mean, those are going to be huge ball games, and I've coached in several different states, and college coach and recruiting, and you see, I mean, there are very few people. There's a lot of people that play high school football. There are not a lot of people that get to play in games that we'll get to play in, week in and week out. So it's fun. I think it's great for the communities. Again, I'm still beginning to feel my way through, just the culture here in North Alabama with regard to how the communities, the rivalries within the communities. But I think it's one of the neat things. I coached in Georgia for 5 years, and people say, well, what's the difference between coaching in Georgia and coaching in Alabama? I said, well, understand this, and this was in 2012 when I came over. There were as many high schools playing football in the state of Alabama in 2012 as there were in the state of Georgia. Now, there's more people living in metro Atlanta than live in the entire state of Alabama. So you go figure that. And the thing is, every community in Alabama, there are very few consolidated high schools in Alabama. In Georgia, a lot of those small towns, they consolidated into county high schools and whatnot. And I think that's one of the neat deals about our state is we've got those communities that still identify with those schools and certainly with the football program. So we're excited about that. But again, we've got 9 games in front of that we're awfully excited about as well.
I want to piggyback off of that question. Adam asked about the last game. I want to ask you and the guys about the first game. They moved North Jackson from the middle of the season to the first game. They call it the fiercest rivalry in North Alabama. You guys have experienced that. Coach has never experienced North Jackson in Scottsboro. How much motivation is that? Both you seniors, right? Your senior year opening against North Jackson, and I'm going to call them a hated rivalry because it is. They said it's the most hated rivalry, and you're shaking your head now. So if you'd comment on that, and then Coach comment on the fact.
Now, look, I told them don't give them any bulletin board material now, so I don't need you leading them into that.
Well, yeah, it's definitely. I think both teams play better that game than they do all year, just because it's North Jackson versus Scottsboro. I mean, it's always intense, and we've never been beat by them. Well, we did freshman year, but we wasn't playing. But we don't plan on getting beat by them at all. Not even gonna be close.
Oh, well, North Jackson week's always a special week. Just to give a little insider, every day we work out that week, we listen to the fight song that they play, just to give us just a little bit more hatred. Not hatred, because we respect them to an extent. Don't get me wrong, it's a rivalry. Everybody loves the rivalry. But at the end of the day, we're all football players. We all play the game, but it's just a game.
Yeah, touching on that rivalry, at one time I covered Scottsboro football, and I just made a mild comment on the radio, and people from North Jackson about crucified me over it. So that's how intense it is. And, of course, Coach, you're going to find that out, and it's huge to start the season. But what I wanted to comment on is the kids dressed. Coach, do you want them to have a perception in the community, like, kind of like you dress, how you play?
Well, honestly, I mean, yes, we do, but we didn't come here. We weren't trying to make a statement when we came here. It's just, it's media day, and I felt like we needed to dress appropriately. But I think, the thing we've tried to get across to our guys is, really in everything that we do, I expect their best, and they ought to expect their best out of themselves and out of each other. So, we're always. People they're going to make judgments on us one way or the other. We need to do our best to make sure we're not giving them any reason to make a bad judgment on us. And I do think that, if there's a certain truth to, how you perceive yourself. It has a whole impact. And Coach Harmon just talked about it from section, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're going to be right. And I think how we present ourselves, plays into that as well. One comment on the North Jackson rivalry. No, I've not experienced it yet. I will say this. I was at a little teacher social at the end of the school year. And there were some, I'm not going to say who this was, but there were some teachers who had been cheerleaders at Scottsboro. And in their day, they were talking about, I guess at halftime or before the game, whenever the two cheerleading squads got together, and there had been some things put in the water that they had shared with the North Jackson cheerleaders that, again, I'm not going to reveal what it was, but after that story, I said, Lord have mercy. This is, I'm going to make sure I check any water that I drink that day.
Coach, do you play a jamboree the week before?
We do not. No, we played Huntsville in the spring.
In the spring. So North Jackson will open up the season for Scottsboro on August the 20th. Thanks for being here. It's great to have you in North Alabama, and good luck in the 2021 season to the Scottsboro Wildcats.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.